Nintendo really pushing the game prices. So there's been a big conversation. Let's get into it. There's been a big conversation recently about the prices of video games on the new Nintendo Switch. $80 games, okay? $80 games. And so, and the physical version, by the way, this is probably physical, right? The physical version of the games are $10 more. So if you buy it digitally, you get money off. And so anyway, this has been pretty crazy. I've been really surprised to see this happen. But I didn't expect it was going to be Nintendo that was going to up the ante with this, by the way. I thought it was going to be another group of people, probably PlayStation that was going to do it. But we'll go back and we'll look at it here, okay? All right, so we have $80 games as a choice, available on June 5. And $80 manufactured standard, suggested retail. Manufacturer suggested retail price, yes. There you go. So it's insane too, because it's a license, not like all modern games. Yep. So will gamers buy video games that are $80? That is the question to ask if you're stupid. If you're not stupid, you know the answer. The answer is yes. They will buy it. They will. They're going to do it. I'm sorry. But again, when did video games become $70? When do you think they became $70? Let's go ahead. We'll pull this up. All right. So let's look at 2017. Okay. So 2017. So $70 in 2017 has the same buying power as $90 in 2025. So if anything, we should be saying thank you, Nintendo, for giving us $10 off. That's inflation goes crazy, right? That's crazy, right? Personal inflation. And this also inflation calculator as well. This only goes up to 2021. That was real. Yeah. And so the fact is that the price of everything has gone up so astronomically high that it would be naive to expect video games not to follow suit. So yes, they are going to be able to charge $80 for video games, because in the same way that people buy all other kinds of bullshit, they're going to buy video games like that too. People complaining are retards? No, people complaining are right. They don't want to have to pay more money for the product. Nobody wants to pay more money for the same thing they've been getting. Nobody likes this, but the fact is that it's going to happen. It will. And you might not like it, but that's the facts. That's just how it is. They got to be careful. What's this here? Cinemas killed ticket sales? Cinemas didn't kill ticket sales. Being able to watch the movies at home did. And also, it wasn't just the cinemas killing. This is the way it's always been. Seeing a movie was cheap, but buying the concessions was expensive. That's how it was, at least whenever I used to go to the movies, because a movie ticket was $8 to $12, and then going to the going to the concession stand was $25 or $30. So yeah, popcorn's $15, exactly. And so now both are pricey. I actually don't know how much seeing a movie is nowadays. I have no idea. But I think the convenience of being able to watch a lot of movies from home is the reason why a lot of people don't go to movies nowadays. And anyway, this isn't because of tariffs, by the way. No, it's not because of tariffs. But anyway, Nintendo Switch games will cost $80 for digital, $90 for physical editions. There we go. And a lot of people are very unhappy about this. I think that the big surprise here is nobody expected Nintendo to be the ones that make the jump and set the new benchmark. And I want to tell you guys, welcome to the new normal. This is how it's going to be. That's right. This is the new normal. We made it, boys. That's right. We did. And again, and by the way, if you are going to say, I'm not going to buy these video games, they're too expensive for me, then actually do it. Because every time that people say, oh, I'm not going to do that, oh, I'm not going to do that, and then the product comes out and everybody's like, all right, I'm going to do that. And that's the issue, right? Is that you have all these people that are, I'm not going to do it. And then they go and do it. That's the way it is. So my best advice, if you guys feel that way, is to just buy video games a couple years after they come out, right? To go buy Tears of the Kingdom right now. Well, I'd wait for Switch 2 at this point, but I would say go buy it right now. So you have the $80 games, and it gets better. You think this is bad? Nintendo has confirmed that some Switch 2 games won't even have the game on the card on the cart, the cartridge will only be used as a license check, and the game will need to be downloaded. So you're basically buying two-factor authentication to play a video game. And this is, this is what's going to happen, right? And by the way, every other technology developer is going to be doing this. Like, again, if you really thought that, do you really think that they're not going to try to stop you from pirating their shit? Like, do you really think they're not going to try to stop? Like, think about it. Everybody's stealing the Listerine from Walmart because they want to get drunk on it. And guess what happens? Well, now the Listerine's behind a jewel case, and you've got to talk to the fucking person to get a $2 bottle out. That's it. So you think they locking up Listerine and speed sticks at a CVS in California, and you think they're not going to lock down a $55, $65, $75 game? Are you out of your fucking mind? How are you thinking that this isn't going to happen? Yes, piracy is copyright infringement, not stealing. I don't give a fuck. You're right. It's different. But at the end of the day, you're getting something you didn't pay for, right? That's ultimately what it comes down to. You're supposed to pay for it. Did you pay for it? No, you didn't. You're being unethical. Never stolen anything in my life. I've never committed any crimes. I've never done anything wrong ever. But according to people that I've heard, what they told me is that they have, and you don't need to feel bad about this at all, but, like, don't go and try to act like this is somehow the game's fault, right? I mean, you're doing that at all. Buying isn't owning, pirating isn't stealing. Well, you're right, but pirating's still not a good thing. I mean, you can't... Look, I have no problem with people that like stealing shit, right? Like, I actually have no problem. I'm not mad about that. It doesn't upset me. Like, if you want to steal things from a store, go ahead and steal it. But I just hate the amount of justifications for it. Just steal it. Just steal it and say, bitch, I ain't gonna pay for this shit. It's mine now. I hate the justifications because they're all bullshit. They're all bullshit. You're not buying diapers. You're not stealing diapers. You're not stealing insulin. You're not stealing produce. You're not stealing broccoli to live. You're stealing a video game to play because you're bored with your other 300 video games, okay? Like, I'm sorry. This is not a life necessity to me. You don't need to be stealing it. There's no justification for it. Oh, it's too expensive. Okay, well then don't fucking buy it. That's it. Just own up to it that you're stealing for leisure. Yeah, just own up to it. That being said, this is the future, gentlemen. This is the future. This is what's going to happen. You are going to see a reduction in the amount of ways that you can pirate video games, and this is what the goal is, right? The goal is never, ever... So this is everybody who's pirating. Okay, that's embarrassing. Let me see if I can do this better. Okay, that's a square. So this is all the people that are pirating, okay? So these are all the bad boys. If you add in, do you remember like when, do you remember back when you had VHS tapes? This was 3,000 years ago, so there's like 7 people that remember this. And if you tried to copy the VHS tape, that it would like do like it had like anti-copy protection, and it would fuck up the film. Remember this? Okay, so then you know what they did whenever they did that? They drew a line between the amount of people that could pirate, and now only this many people can pirate. Then, let's see, they got rid of Napster and LimeWire and everything else. Okay, well, now only this many people are pirating. Then they shut down, not really shut down, but they made the Pirate Bay less effective. And so now only this many people are pirating. And also, here's another really big one. They made a bunch of video games that are always online that you have to play directly through a launcher. Okay, well, now these are the amount of people that are pirating. So you see how you're never going to get rid of pirating, but you can cut it in half more and more and more and more. This is, let's say, like 97. This is 2003. This is 2009, and this is 2015, right? And so, when is this going to happen? I don't know, but it will happen. You guys picking up what I'm putting down on this? And this is another graph that I also want to use, and this is the this is ages, and this is computer literacy. This is the problem, where inside of this vector, The only people that know how to use computers are between the ages of about 20 to 55. Nobody else knows how to use computers. So now what happens is that, like, because kids nowadays are so accustomed to, like, technology being really good that they never learned how to solve problems. And so now you have kids that have the same level of technological awareness that a boomer does. And in fact, it's probably even worse because they think that they're smart. And so this is really what's happened with a lot of these things. So pirating is easier for people that are really good at it, but there are less people that are really good at it every single year. And so you're going to see more of these two-factor systems. You're going to see more of these, types of copyright protection, piracy protection. You're going to see way more of this stuff coming out. It's going to be extremely widespread, and you've just got to get used to it because it's not going to go away, and it's just going to get worse. That's what's going to happen. And it won't matter. It will. It will matter. Do you guys understand this graph? Do you understand what I'm trying to explain with this graph? Like, I just want to make sure that, like, it's explained in a way that makes sense. Yes, okay. Right, exactly. None of these methods get rid of piracy. They just simply reduce the amount of people that are able to access it. That's it. Do you understand piracy is still alive and well? You're not listening. You didn't listen. And anyway, so this is what's going to happen. Of course, they don't want people pirating their video games. It's just common sense. And anyway, it's more accessible than ever right now. I think that that's definitely true, but I bet there are way less people pirating now than there were before. Like, especially for music. I bet if you look at music, there are probably like 20% of the people that were pirating in 2010 that are pirating now. Because of Spotify? Because of a lot of reasons, right? Well, either way, they are going to keep doing more things to reduce the amount of ways that you can pirate things. And it will take a higher barrier to entry to pirate things as time goes on. And this is what's going to happen. So you're going to see video games get more expensive. You're going to see higher degrees of invasive DRM. And there will be people who will choose not to play video games anymore. But when those people choose not to play video games anymore, all they're doing is removing themselves from the market. So why would the company even try to appeal to them in the first place, right? And so that's really what the difference is. Spotify ruins artists' careers. Does it ruin artists' careers? I have no idea. But that's basically what's happening. Isn't piracy an accessibility problem? Piracy is multifaceted. Piracy is an accessibility problem in some cases. It's also a price point problem in other cases. And for some people, it's just simply an ease of access issue where it's easy for them to pirate something and get it for free. So why would they want to pay money for it? So there's multiple reasons for why people pirate. And anyway, so yes, video games now are $80. You can easily expect to see every other game company doing the exact same thing. This is the new normal, gentlemen. Easy, don't buy shit. People are going to buy it. Everybody always says that. Nintendo never puts any big game up for sale either. Yep. And anyway, I was young. I used to pirate because nothing would release in my country. Nowadays, I see no reason to. Yep. And that's another example of how it makes sense. And a lack of regional prices also encourage pirating. Yep. And that's what I was saying before for economic reasons. That's a big, big point. And so, yeah, that's what's happening now. And it's actually quite common. And so, you're going to see more of these video game price increases, and there will still be deluxe editions that will be even more expensive than this as well. So $80 video games now. Wow. This is why indie games will sell more? Why indie games will sell more? Yeah, I think that some indie games will be successful, definitely, but you're also still going to have big games that are going to be popular too. It's really not that complicated. I think it's something that happens all the time. And so, yeah, Balatro Schedule 1, yeah, but like, I mean, you're really thinking about like one or two games that have come out in the last 2 or 3 years, right? Like the majority of indie games are 98%, 99% not financially viable and successful. And it's a very, very small survivorship bias that people look at and they say, oh, indie games are going to take over. Yes, there will be more indie games and they're going to be successful. And I think it's easier to make an indie game now than it was. And I think that indie games quality has gone up generally, but it's still going to, it's not like they're going to beat Nintendo, right? Well, I mean, unless they're Pal World. That's a little bit different, isn't it?